We're getting closer and closer to the NBA draft. I want to go and look at some of the best and worst NBA draft comparison. We're going to be on NBADraft.net. I just feel like that's the best way to get from, they got from 2009 all the way up to 2025 and draft comparisons and stuff. And I don't even have no frame of reference of what's going to be a good, what's going to be a bad. So basically what I'm going to do is go to like a bust like Johnny Flynn. They compared him to Damon Stoudemire. Okay, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. Small guard. It ain't like they compared him to Isaiah Thomas or something. So I guess it's not bad. Hasheem Thabeet was compared to Dikembe Mutombo. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hasheem Thabeet Dikembe Mutombo. Now, sometimes I think this site, yeah, they got busted for updating their mock draft. They updated their mock draft 10 years later. Like, come on, bro. I feel like it should be a mausoleum. It should be a museum. Once the draft is done, you cannot go back and retouch your mock draft. You're right and you're wrong sometimes. James Harden projected 5. Let's see. They compared him to Manu Ginobili but crossed out Brandon Roy. What is the reason behind that? I don't know. The Manu Ginobili one still is pretty cool. Left-handed. There's this thing when it comes to draft comparisons. A lot of the time, if you left-handed, they only gonna compare you to left-handed players, and if you're white, they only gonna compare you to other white players. That's just the way it goes. So like Tyler Hansbrough, projected to the Bulls, Mark Madsen. Like, come on, man. They only gonna compare. Like, let's see who else. Chase Budinger. Well, they got Glenn Rice here, but they also got Brent Barry. They can hold on. This is a new experiment now. It's not even just about good or bad draft comparisons. I don't know about foreign-born players. Let's see, Thabo Cephalosha, but they crossed that out. Again, that might just be the revisionist history saying like, oh, we messed up there. But let's see, Steph Curry's draft comparison was this makes sense. I mean, they always say this guy is a Steph Curry before Steph Curry, so the fact that he's the comparison definitely makes sense. So far, I'm not seeing anything too crazy other than Hasheem Thabeet is going to be, who was it again? It was Dikembe Mutombo. All right, let's go to 2010 then, 2010. John Wall is the first overall pick. Let's see what they said about John Wall. See, this is 2019 again. No, don't go back and fix your rights and fix your wrongs. Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook, those aren't bad comparisons for John Wall coming out of college. I'm not mad at it, but they crossed it out. Evan Turner, who would they compare ET to? Also Brandon Roy? Okay. Matter of fact, I don't know if I want to use this site no more with the revisionist history. I also want to see any white players. Luke Babbitt. Who do they compare Luke Babbitt to? Keith Van Horn and Chris Mullin. Do you see what I mean? Ekpe Udoh didn't end up being great in the league, and they gave him bad comps. So this is what I don't understand. This is probably, again, the revisionist history thing. If he was going to be Chris Gatlin / Jerome Mo, I don't even know this first guy. Why would he be drafted in the top 6? Paul George comparison was who, though? So you got a dude that's comped to Scottie Pippen, but instead of drafting Scottie Pippen, it's going to be Chris Gatlin. That don't make sense to me, bro. That don't make sense to me. Gordon Hayward, experiment continues. Luke Jackson and Mike Dunleavy Jr. All right, let's go some other place. All right, so here's another spot, and it has not been updated since 2010. So this is absolutely perfect. So yeah, the Derrick Rose, John Wall will make sense. This place also has Brandon Roy. Okay, Wesley Johnson gets a Sean Marion, Scottie Pippen comp. Oh my God, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Sean Marion, Matter of fact, let me make this bigger. That's better. Okay. A Sean Marion, Scottie Pippen comp for Wesley Johnson. Yikes. C-Webb for DeMarcus Cousins. They had him listed as a 4 instead of a 5. All right. Kevin Love, Jordan Hill for Greg Monroe. Ed Davis gets LaMarcus Aldridge and Brandon Wright. That's like two different sides of the spectrum. Well, I guess in 2010, LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't great. This is year 3 of LaMarcus Aldridge. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Ekpe Udoh gets a less talented Chris Bosh. And the undersell of the century is that Paul George is Trevor Ariza. Oh, this is hilarious. I'm looking for them steals of the draft. It's this Grievous Vasquez. Okay, not necessarily a steal, but he did have an NBA career. Some of these dudes couldn't say the same thing. Go 2011 then. Kyrie Irving is a 6'2" Chris Paul. Whoa, that's kind of insane. 6'2" Chris Paul. The Cavs have a hard time passing on Irving. He is an elite point guard prospect. Part Deron Williams, yes, because of the crossover. part Chris Paul and ready to bring Cleveland back from the abyss. Irving is a pass-first point guard with all the tools to lead an NBA club for the next decade. Obviously, Kyrie Irving is beyond pass first now. Like, obviously, he could still pass, but he's not pass first. He's like, I'm going to get myself a bucket. So he's evolved. We got Amari Stoudemire, Blake Griffin for Derek Williams. Derek Williams was one of those prospects for me. Again, I don't watch a ton of college basketball, but in 2011, I feel like I was more tapped in than in 2024. I thought Derek Williams was actually going to be really, really nice. So the fact that he didn't pan out kind of sucked because he can shoot the ball very well. At least in that 1 year of college, he shot the ball so well. And I was like, oh, he's going to be able to shoot. He's athletic as heck. He can defend. I thought he was one of those dudes. I didn't think he should go number 1 over Kyrie Irving, but him going to number 2 made sense to me in that time. But obviously that didn't pan out. And his cancer, Kevin Love. I think a lot of that is because Kevin Love back to the basket at this time was crazy, and he also was a good rebounder. Val was compared to Joakim Noah. Whoa. Which is crazy because Joakim Noah never had like a post bag. He could score, but I think Val's post game was just so much better. But again, we talk about a younger version of Val. Very promising young big man who only scratches the surface of his potential. Mixes up good ball fakes, back to the basket, very solid rebounder, good shot blocker. Needs to add weight and strength. Best believe he did that. He did that part. Brandon Knight was compared to Drew Holiday. A smaller KG for Tristan Thompson. A smaller Kevin Garnett. Are you serious? That is crazy. Jan Vesely. Jan Vesely keeps the streak alive. He does get a black player here, but he does also get a foreign-born white player. Kemba's ended up being way better than Speedy Claxton was. Jimmy Fredette does get a white guy and Kirk Heinrich. Matiunas gets Dirk. He is much more of a Dirk or Bargnani than a Darko. Now, Matiunas had like a couple solid seasons in the NBA, so I don't want to act like he didn't pan out to be anything, but definitely, I mean, I don't even think he won Bargnani, he won Dirk, and was he Darko? Was he even Darko? I don't even know, bro. Marcus Morris ends up getting Carlos Boozer. Oh, the Courtney Lee, the undersell of the century. Jeff Green, undersell of the century for Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson. Jimmy Butler gets Landry Fields. That's crazy, man. That is so crazy. And obviously Jimmy Butler has an argument to be in the hall. He has an argument to be in the hall now. Poor man's Russell Westbrook. And again, this is 2011, so this is before Russell Westbrook was the MVP of the league. But if that man was a poor man's Russell Westbrook, I promise you he wouldn't be projected 33rd. I promise you he wouldn't. I think a lot of people know that like the worst draft comp of all time was Deshaun Stevenson projected to be Michael Jordan in some comps. More versatile LaMarcus Aldridge. Wow. But you know what? That's not genuine because when Anthony Davis was coming out of the draft, everybody knew that he was a generational talent. So more versatile LaMarcus. Again, LaMarcus was really, really good. Don't get me wrong. But I think his comps in a lot of other places were a lot higher than that. Don't mean to go back here, but here he was compared to Kevin Garnett, which I think that was more of what the mindset was in 2012. A nice Latrell Sprewell. That's crazy. I like when publications or writers do stuff like that. Where it's not just like, hey, here's a singular player, but it is a athletic version of this. It is a low-tempered version of that. I like that. So when you say he is a nice Latrell Sprewell, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist compared to the one. This is what I'm figuring out. When it comes to these older draft, I don't know if they do this anymore now, but older draft comps, if you were a versatile defensive wing that only needed a jump shot, you was probably comped to Scottie Pippen, which is crazy. Thomas Robinson gets Amari Chris Humphries. That's a one side of the spectrum versus another. Harrison Barnes is Grant Hill. Dame is just Marcus Thornton. Plays a complete game, has good quickness, athleticism, and can score in bunches, that's for sure. A poor man's Dwight Howard for Drum. Okay, all right. Kendall Marshall is almost Jason Kidd. A pass-first guard who has quickly earned the trust of his teammates and coach. Very high IQ and good skill set, not an elite athlete. Needs to work on his outside shot. All of that does sound like almost Jason Kidd. I would say that. I mean, honestly, he was a lot closer to let me think of a player. I don't even know. I don't want to be disrespectful, but he was nowhere near Jason Kidd. Let's just say that. Almost is still a stretch. Jeremy Lamb got a T-Mac comp. Bro, if I was a player like Jeremy Lamb who was in the league for a decent amount of time, but also never panned out too crazy, if I had that, I would frame this. That at one point they thought I could be T-Mac or Joe Johnson. Obviously I wasn't, but at one point they thought I could. Like that's the shining moment Jared Sullinger got a Charles Barkley comp. Oh yeah, now we just talk. Draymond Green with a Ron Artest comp is so hilarious. Considering both of they history with their anger on court and stuff. It's actually kind of perfect. And this ain't even updated since 2012. So they didn't go back and make a little jokey joke. No, they just kind of saw that this man's temper is crazy. Chris Middleton is Shane Battier / Darrell Wright. Okay, shooters. Okay, yeah, now this is the way we're going to end it because the 2013 draft class, and maybe we do a part 2 for 2014 to now. But the 2013 draft class at the time was considered one of the worst of all time. So the number 1 overall pick projected, Alex Len, was comped to Luke Longley. Nasty work. But even a better Luke Longley sounds a lot worse than Marcus Camby or Danny Granger or poor man's Dwayne Wade or even Vince Carter / J.R. Smith. Are you serious? A better Luke Longley? Ew. The poor man's Dwayne Wade one ended up being pretty accurate at one point. That was, man, VO's career. I wish we can go back and kind of relive it because that little prime that he had was so fun and so electric. And it did feel like a poor man's Dwayne Wade for sure. So that's not too bad. CJ McCollum is a poor man's Steph Curry. Interesting. Anthony Bennett was a more explosive Paul Millsap. Extremely powerful and explosive forward who can step outside and knock down jumpers or take defenders off the dribble. Yeah, okay. Where's Giannis? He wasn't even projected to go. Oh, Tyson Chandler count for Rudy Gobert makes sense. No Giannis Antetokounmpo. Where's Giannis Antetokounmpo? He wasn't even projected in the first round? Is that true? I think that kind of makes sense. Was he not projected at all? No. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Maybe I overlooked it, but let me do some finder. Yeah, no Giannis in the second round. I repeat, no Giannis in the second round. First round. Oh, there he is. He was projected 18th. Okay. A taller Scottie Pippen. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? If you could not shoot and you were a rangy forward, you were comped to Scottie Pippen. Antetokounmpo obviously ended up being a lot better than even this. Even that. Being comped to Scottie Pippen and exceeding expectations is some pretty cool stuff. Let's just be real. All right, Luke Longley. A better Luke Longley. Again, sounds really bad, but that was a projected first overall pick of 2013. Hey, let me know if y'all want to see 14 through 23. Nah, we can't go 23 because we don't even know what those players are just yet. So none of those comparisons are going to look too crazy yet. And I say yet.